Monday morning and welcome to Korea Today, brought to you live from Seoul.
President Park Geun-hye is to chair a foreign and security ministerial meeting this afternoon for the first time since the execution of Jang Song-taek, North Korea's ousted second-in-command.
The railway union strike continues here in Korea. Fewer trains will be running starting today. More coming up in the headlines.
And in business news, when it comes to the materials market, how does Korea rank? We'll tell you on In Print.
How does Earth look like from far and above? You can find out on your own with just a simple experiment. Stay for more on Hot Clicks.
Lending a helping hand in Vietnam for nearly 2 decades, Korean dental surgeon Shin Hyo-keun wins a Medal of Recognition from the Southeast Asian country and speaks to us on sharing. And to foster creative thinking and free expression, more unique forms of education are taking place. We take a look at imaginative and fun art classes for children live on this Monday, December 16, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Monday morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. It was a cold Sunday morning. Sunday we had yesterday, and you can expect much of the same today. In fact, there is a cold wave advisory issued in the provinces of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do at the moment.
That's right. Morning commuters will be greeted with temperatures between minus 13 degrees and minus 3 degrees, actually minus 14, getting down to that low in some areas. Now, the cold is not letting up anytime soon in the morning, but by the afternoon, we'll get a little lift and a break from the cold temperatures.
That's right. And we have a lot to get to today, so we'll start with Na Hyung-kyung for a check of the day's headlines.
A week has passed since the country's railway union members launched their strike. The union and management are sticking strong to their respective stances. And starting today, passenger trains in the metropolitan area, which were mostly unaffected by the strike so far, are scheduled to run less frequently. Weekday KTX operations will also drop by 12% starting tomorrow.
We were planning on increasing the operation rate with those returning to work, but that rate is lower than expected. We are strongly feeling the effects of the shortage in substitute workers.
The operation rate of the nation's freight trains remains low at 30% of the regular level. The union continues to claim the government's plan to put a subsidiary in charge of managing new KTX routes departing from Seoul will eventually lead to the privatization of the state-run railway operator Korail. But the government calls the union strike illegal and says it will issue the subsidiary in question its business license within the next week. In the days following his uncle Jang Song-taek's execution, North Korea's young leader Kim Jong-un continues to engage in public activities as if nothing has happened. Over the weekend, North Korea's Central TV reported Kim visiting a soon-to-be opened ski resort, one of the country's symbolic projects aimed at boosting the economy. Analysts say he is trying to show that the regime is putting a lot of emphasis on the country's economy, despite the absence of Jang, who was known to have managed the state's economic policies. And in an interview with the Associated Press, that's exactly what a senior North Korean official said.
Even though Jang Song-taek's group caused great harm to our economy, there will be no change at all in the economic policy of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
The South Korean government continues to keep an eye on developments coming out of Pyongyang. President Park Geun-hye and senior foreign affairs and security officials will meet on Monday to realign Seoul's policy on North Korea in light of the abrupt execution of Pyongyang's longtime second-in-command last week. Korea's newly expanded air defense zone has gone into effect starting Sunday. The Korean military has carried out its first surveillance flight. A government official says the patrol plane flew over Yeodo, a submerged reef lying on Korea and China's overlapping exclusive economic zones. It also flew over Korea's southern islands of Marado and Hongdo, regions that overlap with Japan's air defense zone. No conflicts were reported from Sunday's surveillance. The military reported reportedly notified Tokyo of the patrol in advance. Seoul says it plans to increase maritime patrols in the region as well. The Navy has been carrying out surveillance 2 or 3 times a week, but those will be increased up to 5 times a week. It seems like Korea's business sector is hopeful about the country's economy next year. 8 out of 10 major companies in Korea say they believe the nation's economic growth for 2014 will either be bigger or stay similar to this year's rate. Out of the more than 300 leading companies surveyed by the Federation of Korean Industries, only 16% said economic conditions will worsen next year. Nearly half of the respondents said they plan on keeping their R&D budget the same as this year, while 26% said they plan on spending more on R&D next year. The firms say one of the key variables that affected their management plans was the sluggish recovery in the domestic market.
And good morning, everyone. Time for a look through your newspaper, the headlines. Now, the papers also continue to watch closely developments out of North Korea following the execution of North Korea's former number 2, Jang Song-taek. 중앙일보's headline reads, Kim Jong-un appears smiling after executing uncle. Picking right off of Hyungyang's second headline, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un is shown touring the Masikryong ski resort, symbolic in the state's drive toward economic prosperity. The ski resort project would have taken years to conclude, but it's set to open sometime this month after just 1 year of construction, giving rise to the expression Masikryong speed. Now, the subheadline adds that the publicized tour is being seen as a message of confidence by the young leader, that he is confident enough of his state of affairs to leave the capital city of Pyongyang 2 days following the execution of his uncle, Jang Song-taek. Now, on a similar note, let's go ahead and take a look at the front page of 조선일보. Its main headline reads, smiling 30-year-old leader standing on a sharp blade. And the article explains that sharp blade as Kim Jong-un now having to stand alone on his own 2 feet, with Jang Song-taek, once seen as his mentor and protectorate of sorts, gone. The list of goals he must achieve is long, including reopening talks or dialogue on nuclear issues and also mending ties with China in the absence of Jang. Now, we do have an interview lined up coming up very soon to unpack this issue, so we'll go ahead and leave it there and return to issues happening here in South Korea. Now, on Gyeongyang Shimun, we'll take a look at the front page image. The title above reads, 안녕들 하십니까? Or Are You All Well? Spreads rapidly. It all began with a handwritten poster, a personal manifesto of sorts titled Are You All Well? Penned and posted by a Korea University student on a school bulletin board last Tuesday. The paper says this singular act of declaring his concerns about the social problems that he saw is inspiring an awareness movement of sorts among the country's young people. Now, similar posts were found in some 30 universities across Korea and even those abroad, the caption says. A Facebook page named Can't Be Okay received some 200,000 likes in less than a week, capturing the discontent and concerns of those users. Meanwhile, the signboard you're seeing there reads, I am not well because of my forgotten hope, and in French, to exist is to resist, in a university event at Korea University there. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up with a look at Korea Economic Daily. Its main headline reads, World engaged in materials mergers and acquisition competition. Korea taking baby steps, fall behind, game over. The Daily clearly pushing for developing the nation's materials and more specifically futuristic materials sector there. The article adds that while Korea has risen as a materials and part supplier nation thanks to its electronics exports, its lag in futuristic materials has led to huge deficits. For example, a 200 trillion won, that's nearly $190 billion trade deficit with Japan over 10 years. Now, given that that China is also looking inwards for its materials. The paper cites experts as saying that Korea needs a long-term view to develop special materials companies, and it does conclude by reporting that conglomerates are recognizing the key role that materials play in competitiveness, and groups like Samsung and SK are developing plans to build existing companies as hotbeds for futuristic materials. And with that, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Monday. Next up are your closing numbers from Friday's market action.
The local and international media have covered the execution of North Korea's former number 2 man, Jang Song-taek, extensively over the weekend. Still, more questions and answers as the world tries to weigh in on this sudden development out of North Korea.
And we're going to get an expert's view, and joining us is Dr. Ralph Casa, president of the Pacific Forum Center for Strategic and International Studies, joins us via Skype. Good morning, Dr. Casa.
Thank you for your time this morning. Now, let's begin with what this latest purge say about the leadership of Kim Jong-un. Now, there are conflicting views on whether to see this as a sign of confidence or a sign of insecurities. Where do you stand on this?
I think I come down more on the side of insecurity, but one of the frustrating things, of course, with North Korea is that every time something happens, you can come up with two equally plausible but diametrically opposed answers. And many people are arguing that it shows a sign of strength. The fact that he had to put his uncle to death to sort of make sure he doesn't come back from yet another purge, I think tells me that he's still quite insecure and worried about his future.
Okay, well, that insecurity, as you say, might have made him or forced him to put his uncle to death. Now, it wasn't just his uncle, though. He was the man that was spearheading economic reform in North Korea. And with this, people are wondering what's going on with North Korea economically. A high-ranking official did say, though, that this purge wouldn't have any effect to the economic policies. But what do you think? At this point in time, what do you think? Do you see any foresee changes in economic policy, for example, on joint inter-Korean projects such as Kaesong?
Well, I think we've been hoping to see a change in economic policy. We have been hoping to see North Korea following more of the Chinese model of economic reform. I think this makes that extremely less likely. I think the Chinese are going to have to start reassessing now how to be happening. So I think that there's going to be quite a few questions raised.
We're going to try to ask that question again. Now, Jang, it was a close and important link between North Korea and China. Now, so do you think China knew about this looming purge, and what do you think is going through Beijing's minds right now?
Well, my sense is the Chinese got caught by surprise by all of this, and that they have to be sort of reassessing. Many Chinese that I had talked to had been looking at Jang Song-taek as sort of the Deng Xiaoping of North Korea, the person that was going to lead them down the path of Chinese-style reform. Clearly, that's not going to happen. I think the Chinese now have to be very nervous about the faith that they've put into North Korea over the last few years and must be asking some serious questions. The charges against Jang included such things as sort of selling out North Korea property to neighbors and to others, i.e. China. So you could read some backhanded slaps against China in the accusations as well. All in all, the Chinese can't be happy about this.
You're saying they're not happy about this. In the meantime, South Korea is holding a ministerial meeting this afternoon. Now, North Korea, whenever it has internal conflicts, it usually follows them up with external provocations. Now, how likely is it that they will launch another or do something to provoke the international community?
Well, I don't think so. I think right now they're going to be very much focused on what's going on internally and trying to get their act together and consolidate power. So I think it's probably less likely that they would try to lash out. They may start saying things. You know, we seem to tend to equate bad rhetoric with bad actions. We may see some bad rhetoric, but I don't think they're going to do anything foolish at this point. They need to be sort of focusing on getting their act together and consolidating power. Clearly, Jung Sung-taek is not the last shoe to drop. We should expect to see other people being removed.
Well, Dr. Costa, North Korea's official news agency said that Chung had sought to, quote, destabilize the country to take charge through a coup. And that always seems to be an underlying factor, the possibility of a coup. Everyone seems to be talking about that. What about now? At this point, what do you think?
Well, it's impossible to rule something like that out. But there's this old Chinese saying about killing the chicken to scare the monkey. The North Koreans went right for the monkey. So the chickens now have to be scared silly in North Korea. So I think anyone that's sort of contemplating a coup is going to be very, very careful. They're going to all be looking over their shoulder. In fact, anyone who was friends with Jung, anyone who was related to Jung, is going to be extremely nervous. So I think that while a coup is certainly possible, I would guess that for the next couple of months, coup plotters are going to be lying low and sort of waiting for things to settle down because, they're going to be watched very closely.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Costa, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insights.
My pleasure, anytime.
And shifting back to the ongoing railway workers' strike, the main reason behind the prolonged strike, according to the union, is that the government will eventually privatize the state-run railway operator Korail, and we'll get an in-depth look into this issue. For that, joining us is Professor Song Se-ryun from Kyung University. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much. So last week's approval to form a subsidiary company to manage all KTX routes departing from Suseok, that's a district in southern Seoul, the union says that's the government's first step that will eventually lead to the privatization. How valid do you think this is coming from the union's stance?
I think that it's valid to an extent, but on both sides, I think they're talking past each other, almost like not defining the key terms. So it's like a badly organized debate where when they're talking about the privatization, there are different shades of privatization. It could be outright sale of a company to a private company, but it could be what is termed as a public-private partnership. I think the government, when they denying that they're not going to be a privatization, but they're implying that there would be some sort of partnership to introduce efficiency measures and all those. But union is treating it as a full privatization or a sale of a company. So in that sense, they're valid to raise the concern about the perils of full privatization, but I don't think that's what it's talking about.
Right. And the government, of course, is saying that it doesn't plan on doing so. It's not going to straight sell out the company, of course, and nothing it did so far was illegal. Now, the union is getting some international support. Officials from the International Transport Workers Federation flew in last week to show support for the Korean Railway Workers Union. They also say the Korean government has stepped over the line in responding to the union's strike by removing thousands of workers from their posts.
Right. It's draconian measures on both sides. I mean, the union is putting on this strike on the speculation that there might be a privatization. And also government is laying off 7,000 people.
Right. It's not exactly laying off, but removing them from the posts, their positions, so they can't really work.
Right. But it could be a starting point of replacing or the other. That's what they're threatening. But to some extent, it has kind of stepped over the line in terms of becoming a political debate. I think Korea might be going through, as some people might say, a Thatcher moment or a Reagan moment where government is saying, well, we cannot really retreat back from this because we have to put in some measures of efficiency and the competitiveness to all our industries, including the government sectors. So in that sense, if the government backs down from this, they cannot do anything in other sectors. So they're drawing the battle line. Of course, from the union side, understandably so, this is about their job. It's about their job security. So in that sense, they're fighting on behalf of other workers in Korea. So in that sense, it has become a modicum of a ideological or the political battle between the two.
So apart from that political reasons, is privatization an available or an attractive rather option for Korea at this point?
You know, the privatization of public goods goes back in history, especially in the transportation sector. In the 90s, there were a lot of companies around the world who tried this. Why did they try this? Because of the same reasons that Korea is facing. The financial shortfalls from the government side to invest in the infrastructure, and also badly run companies taking a very big toll in a society.
In debt as well, right?
Right. Badly run companies, if the government has to bail them out or they give them subsidies, that means other part of the public goods are suffering, like the education, like the welfare reforms. And Korea is going through a period where they have to find some money. So in all of the sectors, in order to bring the efficiency and the competitiveness and the good management, that all spells the privatization. So I think there will be some measure of privatization in probably most of the sectors in the government run companies. But at this point, Korea, is it the best option? Well, in order to answer that question, we have to see what type of privatization we're talking about. And there are, like I said, there are different shades of it. So I think the better course of action would be to engage in what kind of element can be introduced in this running the business.
And Seoul Metro unionized workers are also planning on joining forces if the union says if the government does not do anything right now. So if the strikes prolong, what kind of damage are we talking about here in terms of cost and also cargo trains and for the commuters as well?
Right, inconvenience. I mean, a lot of people will be inconvenienced, and as you said, that freight is a big issue because it defines what kind of economic growth we could have in export-oriented countries like ourselves. But I think more importantly is going back to the kind of ideological battle between the two. This is a time when Korea is going through a big debate about whether we'll stick to some form of democracy in the form of liberal democracy or social democracy. What type of policy sets are best suited for the future of economy and the political stability of Korea. So that kind of a debate has to happen, and maybe this is a good opportunity so that government and the opposition and as we heard, students are kind of joining in that debate. So if you use that opportunity to make some sense out of what kind of future we're talking about, probably the outcome would be good. But if they just stay on the draconian position of privatization is all bad, or demonizing the privatization, or saying that the mode of a protest is illegal, so we have to crack down on all those things. Well, that might not be promoting a good communication. And this, I suspect that this is about the communicating a good issue in a fair manner.
All right, so hopefully we'll see the two sides sit down and talk it out and come to a good conclusion, but we'll keep our eyes on it for that development. All right. Thank you very much, Professor Song Se-ryong, for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's now get a breath of fresh air with our Idami, who joins us from outdoors.
And we're also supposed to get a little window and a little break from the cold weather. We'll see how long that's going to last. Tommy, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live from the heart of Seoul, Jung-gu. Now, this week we're starting out with frigid conditions. This morning here in Seoul, temperatures are at -7 degrees Celsius. But with the winds blowing here and there, our body temperatures are going to dip down to -10. There are still cold watches that are being issued in Gyeonggi-do, Gangwon-do, and the northern parts of Chungcheongbuk-do. So all in all, make sure to bundle yourselves up on your morning commutes. Now, later in the day is when our daytime highs are going to rise above 0 degrees throughout the peninsula. But don't get too comfortable with the rise in temperatures because, according to the Weather Center, this Thursday, the cold snap is bound to return. Now, some good news, though, is that this week we are looking at clear conditions with no signs of rain or snow so far. So we'll just have to cross our fingers for that. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for today. Here in Seoul, highs will reach to 3 degrees, the same for Daejeon, Daegu at 5, Gangneung at 7, Busan and Jeju at 9 degrees. Now, there still are some icy patches on the roads and the streets, so please be cautious as it is still quite slippery. That's all I have for today's weather. I'll be back to introduce to you an activity that you can enjoy only in the winter.
Today, we're going to meet a Korean dental surgeon by the name of Shin Hyo-keun, who volunteers in Vietnam.
That's right. And every year, he gathers a group of medical volunteers and takes them on these excursions to Vietnam at least 2 to 3 times for that year. Let's get a chance to meet Dr. Shin Hyo-keun.
Vietnam's medical standards have developed greatly over the years, but many are still unable to seek treatment due to poverty. Among the many medical volunteers is a Korean dental surgeon, Shin Hyo-keun.
I have been to China and Kazakhstan as well. However, I personally had more warm-hearted feelings from Vietnam doctors. Also, they do have a similar historical background like us, and there are many patients with facial deformities that may be after effects of Vietnam War who are too poor to get proper treatments. We suppose that the exposure to defoliants and the chemical weapons during Vietnam War may elevate the incidence of cleft patients, and also the severity of the deformities is higher than Korean.
He has been doing volunteer work in Vietnam for over 19 years. During this time, he has treated over 600 patients, helping them get their smiles back and essentially changing their lives.
One baby patient with a severe facial deformity who went under operation 4 times and finally had better looking and better ability of eating and speaking. Another most impressive patient was a man who could not have a chance for surgery in his childhood. After the repair surgery, he said that he is very thankful and felt more confident to his children. We could not communicate well each other actually, but this experience made me helpful and made my job worthwhile.
In 2007 and November of this year, he was awarded the Medal for People's Health by the Vietnamese government. It was a rare and big honor for a foreigner to receive this prestigious award. It was a token of gratitude from the Vietnamese government in regards to his hard work and devotion.
An Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons Association of Korea supports to invite a doctor from Vietnam every year for training visit. We give chances to graduate school students in Hue University that they can study in Jeonbuk National University with full scholarship. Hue University is twinned with our university. Currently, there are 5 students in master and PhD degree courses, and 2 students received their degrees and returned to Vietnam, becoming professors on their fields.
Many of his colleagues that volunteer with him in Vietnam say he is addicted to treating patients who suffer from cleft lip and palate. He vows to continue to give medical care to sick people. It is because of this love and dedication that he's loved by the Vietnamese people.
They sometimes brought me fruits, but Mostly, I have received thank you letters. Actually, I don't understand well, those letters written in Vietnamese, but they are touching and moving experience to me. My respected teacher had continued his mission in Vietnam until he became 77 years old. Like my teacher, I want my mission and would like to do my service with my students until I have finger tremor. Even after retirement, I would like to do medical service in Vietnam, and if there is a chance, I prefer to see and care the patients in countryside and remote regions of the country.
Up ahead on Korea Today, art classes are not just for drawing or painting. These days, we're seeing various other fields being embedded into art, including science and entertainment. We look at the many different forms of creative classes taking place in art education.
Good morning, I'm Chun Song-cho and welcome to Hot Clicks. Today I want to start off by introducing someone very special, Whitney Barnes from Illinois, US, who has become quite a sensation online. Her love for Korea is extraordinary. She even gave herself a Korean last name, Bae. Her YouTube channel is mainly used for introducing Korean culture and sharing stories of her life in Korea. You wouldn't believe it if I told you it's been only 2 years since she started living in Korea. Listen to how fluent her Korean is.
키 큰 여자들의 불편한 점 5개까지 지금 설명하겠습니다. Let's go! 신발 살 수 없어요.
So what does she reveal about problems tall girls have in Korea? First of all, it's hard to find shoes or clothes that fit here. Also, when tall girls wear high heels, Korean men complain about it because they don't like being shorter than girls. On rainy days, it's impossible to go to Myeongdong or Gangnam because walking through a crowd means getting attacked by umbrellas held by shorter people. She shows examples of being scratched in the neck and face. Last week, she was even featured on a Korean network channel and is receiving even more attention. In Korea, one of the most widely known traditional game is 널뛰기. As you can see, it's similar to a seesaw in a way that there's a balancing point right in the middle. The only twist to how 널뛰기 works is people at opposite ends not only stand, but also jump up and down on the board taking turns. And recently, a video was posted on Facebook with the title, Amazing Western 널뛰기 Skills. It drew a lot of attention online because it looks like what you would see only in a Cirque du Soleil show. Look at the height of their jumps. It looked pretty scary and dangerous even. And one of the comments below the video, someone added that Koreans can do the same thing along with another video. It shows 2 women demonstrating traditional 널뛰기 at the Korean folk village. It's definitely interesting to see how people across the world can come up with similar ways to have fun. Well, let's jump over to our next story for an overload of cuteness. This is one of the popular commercials in Korea these days. It's an ad for an insurance company featuring this adorable baby. The concept of this commercial is a nagging baby. The baby representing the insurance company tells its clients off, saying they should be healthy and happy before an accident occurs, and says this nagging is all for the benefits of its clients. I don't think anyone would really mind this kind of nagging. The popularity of this commercial is thanks to the adorable actor, 2-year-old Alex. Even behind-the-scenes video of Alex filming the commercial is getting lots of views online. That's not all. Before the commercial began running, teaser footage of the commercial spread around the internet like wildfire, and that's also getting additional views as well.
This winter, 따뜻한.
The new buzz among expecting parents in Korea is a mobile application. It's so popular that it just recorded 800,000 downloads and an 80% user rate among expecting parents in Korea. Seibebe is the name of the app, and it allows the user to record the pregnancy ultrasound into video format. Previously, one could only cherish ultrasound snapshots of the unborn baby, but with Seibebe, expecting parents can save the footage on a smartphone and watch it anytime they want. It also provides the user information on fetal development week by week, so it's definitely something all the parents-to-be will be excited about. Well, finally, our last story. In 2009, 2 MIT students successfully captured the images of the Earth from the upper atmosphere. They sent up a camera attached to helium balloons, and the total cost? Nearly $150. Since then, many have tried this experiment and succeeded filming as well. This time, internet users are paying a lot of attention to a father's story about his success in filming the Earth from the stratosphere with his 5-year-old and 7-year-old daughters. They used the camera on a smartphone for filming. After several test runs, the father and his children were finally able to launch the smartphone attached to helium balloons. So what do you think? The experiment may not look the most sophisticated, but the footage of Earth from far above seems pretty stunning. According to the father, with this experiment, his children were able to see for themselves that the world is round. So you see the power of a father's love right there, the willpower to do anything for his kids.
Now that is a very cool experiment. I wonder about the father. Is he like in the science industry or something to come up with an idea like this?
Well, actually, there was no specific mention about his profession or specialty that it has anything to do with science, aerospace science. But then he said that he watched a documentary regarding this experiment, and he just wanted to try it for himself for his kids, like I said.
That is a cool experiment.
And voila, right? There you go.
I'm just curious, how do you get the cell phone back? How do you get it back?
He actually got it back because the smartphone had GPS tracking. So yeah, he found it.
He is a scientist.
That is hard to believe.
All right, thank you, Sung-chul, for this story.
Thank you. See you next Monday.
All right, let's check back in with our Dami, who joins us from the Seoul Square skating rink.
That's right. So she's going to show us her skating skills, especially with the popularity of figure skating and short track and also speed skating here. Tommy, over to you.
So I'm back reporting live from Jung-gu, Seoul, where the 2013 Seoul Square ice skating rink is opening. Now, the ice skating rink started back in the year 2004. This year marks the 10th anniversary. Now, according to last year's statistics, there were 3,700 visitors per day. That number is just quite large, and it makes me feel much more special as I am, well, the first visitor to skate on the ice rink. Yay! Now, as you can see, I have skates that I borrowed from the ice rink, and also I borrowed the helmet as well. So the entrance fee and the borrowing of the gears of the helmet and the skates is 1,000 won. That is about less than $1, which is very cheap. Now, the ice skating rink is opening today. It will go on until February 23rd, which is a total of 70 days. There are lots of other facilities that you can enjoy, such as the book cafe, where you can enjoy a nice hot beverage, also some books. There's also, since this is the 10th anniversary, there's a photo exhibition that you can enjoy as well. Now, I want to mention 2 different visual differences compared to last year. One is that the design of this ice skating rink is was motivated to look like a glacier. And the second one is this side mini ice rink, which is an ice rink for toddlers, so families can enjoy ice skating in a more safer environment. Now, later tonight at 6 p.m. is when the opening ceremony is going to start, and there will also be world record-breaking speed skater Lee Sang-hwa and another skater as well. So why not come by? Don't miss out on this opportunity. Oh, and of course, one thing, if you want to enjoy the facility here, you have to make reservations ahead of time. So do keep that in mind. I'm Idami, Korea Today. Woo! Yeah! Oh my goodness!
Well, thanks to Kim Yeona and the success of the Korean speed skaters, ice skating is certainly gaining a lot of popularity, but not as much as golf just yet. As we kick things off with the KLPGA, now already at the second event of the new season, the 2013 KLPGA China Ladies Open kicked off on Friday and ended in a dramatic fashion on Sunday. A close third round of the event as the 2013 KLPGA Player of the Year Chang Han-na goes into the 18th hole with a comfortable 3-stroke lead over Kim Han-il. But in a twist of event, while Kim Han-il finishes the hole with a par, Chang Han-na barely hangs on, shooting a double bogey on the hole as she takes the title with a 3-under overall. Now, a win is a win as Chang Han-na continues her success with the new season of the KLPGA. Well, 2013 was certainly a bad year for baseball fans after finding out that the sport will not be included in the Olympics anymore. But turns out it might be back during the 2020 Tokyo Games. Now, Thomas Bach, the president of the IOC, stated in a press conference over the weekend that they're looking to bring back baseball into the Olympic Games once again as they prepare for the 2020 Tokyo Summer Games. While still in its beginning stages, things are looking pretty optimistic as they plan to continue the talk in February in Sochi and possibly finalize everything by December of 2014. And now moving on to some Sunday's KBL action as Anyang KGC dominates Wonju Dongbu Promi 72-57, with Ulsan Mobis Phoebus cruising past KT Sonic Boom 63-50. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Incheon Itilan Elephants take on the Goyang Orions. Of course, going into the game here, first quarter of the game, a joke of a score as Goyang manages just 3 points in the quarter as Incheon takes a 13-3 lead before going into halftime with a 26-16 lead. Now, the first half score is the lowest in KBL history as both teams try to improve their shooting in the second half. Incheon holding on to a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, but the Orions start storming back in the fourth, scoring 26 points in the quarter. And despite the late comeback, Incheon barely hangs on as they take this game 58-56. And finally, going into Sunday's V-League action, this time Daejeon KGC beats Hunguk Insurance Life Pink Spiders 3-1 with IBK sweeping Korean Expressway 3-0 over on the women's side. Meanwhile, a close 5-set match between Hyundai Capital Skywalkers and LIG as Hyundai Capital sneaks in a win here 3-2. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Samsung Hwajae Blue Fangs take on the Korean Air Jumbos. Now, first set, the Blue Fangs capitalize on Korean Air's mistakes as they take the first set 25-21 before Michael Sanchez and Shin Young-soo help the Jumbos even it up in the second set 25-21. Despite Michael Sanchez putting up 29 attack points in this game, it's a one-man show from Leo Martinez, who puts up 48 points as he helps Samsung Hwajae take the next two sets, 25-22 and 27-25, as they take this match 3-1. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Falling in love. 사랑에 빠진 이 남자를 봐요. Lady, I'm your man. Just look at my eyes. 그윽한 눈빛, 황홀한 그 몸짓. Oh my fair lady. I think it's love. Love, love, 온몸이 짜릿짜릿해 훔쳐간 나의 심장은 그대가 오래오래 가져줘요.
We've been seeing a focus in art education from more of a technique-based education system to more of a creativity-based system there, increasing creativity in the young children of art.
That's right, and this change is especially noticeable in primary and preschool classrooms. And joining us for more on this is Arirang. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, this week I went to visit very unique art classes that were conducted in very fun and very free and liberating environment. What I learned was in order to teach other subjects through art, even arts classes are now becoming even more creative. Have a look. This space, filled with many art pieces, is an arts education center that calls all children artists. To build a foundation for abstract paintings by the children here are admiring artworks by Paul Klee. What inspirations do these children feel after viewing art pieces of bold-colored blocks and three-dimensional long, thin lines?
자, 지금부터 재료실 갈 거고요.
Wow, so many to choose from. Look at.
That's right. So from twine, buttons, and yarn to wood blocks, these are all everyday supplies we commonly come across. But here these supplies are used by children to create art. The teacher only offers simple guidelines, so the children pick and choose the art supplies themselves.
문을 만들 거예요. 버스의 창문.
Children express their inspiration after viewing these masterpieces. There are no limits to how they make their art, so it helps greatly in developing creativity. And after the children finish their artwork, they are asked to introduce their own work, and this helps them practice their presentation skills.
제가 그린 작품은 제가 좋아하는 것을 그려서 표현했습니다. 오늘 제가 바로 가래를 보고 만든 작품은 신기한 버스입니다.
So cute. And they can learn from each other's works too.
Exactly.
재료실에서 만들고 싶은 것을 많이 갖고 와가지고 많이 만들 수도 있고 그리기도 할 수 있어요.
So previously, being a good student meant receiving good grades. But now, more importance is put on creativity as it's believed to be the key to future development. Creative leadership is required for those who want to explore new markets and bring changes to the world. So many Korean parents are turning their attention to education methods that develop creativity and logical thinking. Among various education methods, arts education is getting a lot of attention for its strong potential in developing expression and creativity. Hi! So I'm here to check out your class today.
We have a Christmas-themed arts and crafts session today.
Okay.
We're making a Christmas lamp.
Awesome.
And some ornaments with beads and wire. So you want to come and join us?
Yeah, sounds like fun. This Kids Cafe offers art classes for children and adults. Starting at preschool age, they offer children easy and fun games which familiarize them with art activities. So right now I'm making this lamp with my friend right here. She's helping me put the doily paper on or taking it off at the same time. And then we're going to put some of these sparkles onto the lamp as well.
You hang out with some young people.
Well, no matter the time or date, they can visit anytime and join classes run by art major teachers.
So you
이
become
수업이
more creative.
아이들한테 도움이 되나요?
Art classes help develop creativity and the children enjoy their time.
Who wants to follow a bunch of rules? Kids here in this program are encouraged to do almost whatever they want with a few simple art items. Art classes conducted in these environments are great for children's development. Here is a class viewing some masterpieces, and today's lesson is about refraction in water found in these artworks. It's a class that combines arts and sciences, and they offer classes that combine not only sciences but history, economics, music, and other subjects.
Wow.
So through these lessons, children even perform experiments to test the laws of science themselves.
How are you teaching these little kids economics? That's the tough
You
one.
sell
there.
your paintings.
그림으로 봤을 때는 별로 실감 안 나는데 진짜로 보니까 신기해요.
오늘 이거를 본 거를 그림으로 표현해 볼 거예요.
By viewing masterpieces and conducting science experiments, children are able to apply the rules of science back in their own artwork. By combining art and science, they are able to take advantage of a synergy effect in education.
물로 들어가면 색깔이 좀 진하게 되고 연하게 되잖아요.
Each child created unique works of art that show understanding of the fundamentals of refraction in water.
The point of art education is not to draw well, but to develop basic drawing and crafting skills, as well as creativity and the ability to understand the fundamentals of other fields of studies. By combining subjects, learning becomes more effective.
These evolving forms of art education offer a glimpse into the potential of children today who will become the future leaders of Korea.
Now that is a lot of lessons all in one type of art, I would say, right? But you have a little bit more, right? There's other classes that offer emotional stability as well as more, right?
Yeah, well, recently galleries and multicultural complexes now are offering very unique art classes. So, for instance, the Zien Art Space, they're offering this nature motif art class that provides what you said, emotional development and healing. There's also the Hwanggi Museum that's offering eco art classes, which is conducted throughout the museum, introducing eco-friendly artworks.
Eco-friendly.
So here you can experience, the children here can experience various occupations through art, through these classes.
All right.
And we saw other classes combining arts and sciences, and Young asked about economics, but and this is becoming a trend to mix and combine different fields of together in one field.
That's right. Well, the government now is pushing for what we call the STEAM program, and STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Mathematics. And so this program, so the Korea Foundation for the Advancement of Science and Creativity has been pushing and developing this program for the past 3 years, and they're looking to integrate them into our primary, our middle and our high schools all across Korea. And actually, right now, the Ministry of Education is focusing on this STEAM program as a key education policy. So probably in the near future, we're going to see them more and more in our school programs.
In the public school programs.
I mean, back in the days, it used to be all about getting into Midae or arts university in Korean, in English. But I mean, so it seems like the wall between those students in high school who want to get into liberal arts college as to just natural science, the students who want to focus on natural sciences, the wall currently is separated.
That's
but
right.
now it's dissolving, right?
Yeah,
that wall
so
is.
some universities now are trying to dissolve that separation between what you said, liberal arts and natural sciences when selecting new incoming students. I like that actually, because sometimes you don't know
you don't know what you're going to get into.
Exactly. And so with this government announcement, beginning in 2021, we're going to see a unified university entrance exam, which means that the current 5th grade and those below now will be learning from a unified, textbook, combining liberal arts and natural sciences. So we can definitely expect to see more combined education programs from now on.
Kids have to be brighter, it seems like. They have to be
very
jack of all trades.
Right.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, in the future, you'll be able to get into or apply for med school even if you're not a Ikwa student in
That's
Korea.
true.
That's a natural science, people who want to focus on natural science.
I think that's a very exciting development for all.
Well, it sounds great. They're integrating art and a variety of other cultures, so teaching these kids a little bit and the concept about science, economy even, and much more through art, thinking or showing them how to think outside the box. Thank you for this report.
Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap for today's show.
All right, have a great Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.